Hey team, in this video I'm going to be diving into my reflections on 2020 as well as my plan of action for 2021. And I apologize that this has taken so long to get to you. I did everything in December and then completely forgot to do a video of all my learnings and insights to share with you guys. So I know it's a little bit late, but better late than never. So let's go straight in. The first thing that I do is I reflect on all the wins that I had last year. So I'll run through a couple of my favorites. I did a 5-day juice cleanse. I managed to create an online portal for all my different trainers. So everything's online. It's not on Dropbox, Google Drive, different platforms. Like it's looking slick, right? I rebranded. I hired my business coach, spent about 15K on a business coach, 5K on another marketing coach, so really invested quite heavily in my business to begin with. I've now got 2 virtual assistants practically working full time, which is amazing. Managed to get Evelyn a visa to come to England. Managed to set up my own office as opposed to being in an Airbnb all the time, which is pretty cool. I was on, I think, over 30 or 40 podcasts last year, which is pretty amazing. And I managed to complete my stretch goal financially, which I was really excited about. So building my wealth on the side, as well as building up my business. And to be honest, I think ultimately it was dealing with COVID-19 in a really, really fantastic way. And I was so pleased that throughout my business and rebranding, making the Entrepreneur Lifestyle Accelerator, changing everything that I've done, it was such a win of a year, given everything that was happening. Like I completely transformed my business from speaking to get clients to instead now having everything online, being able to convert people, have them work with my trainers or myself, and it's just incredible. So I'm really, really pleased with how 2020 ended up turning out. Now, with regards to the other questions that I have, so when I was thinking about scoring the year, I decided to score it a 9 out of 10, and I'll explain why. Because I did feel a little bit out of balance, and I certainly felt that way because I didn't have a contingency in place if issues occurred in my business. Like I was very fortunate in that I've got long-term clients who work with me on a monthly basis, yearly basis that are doing amazing, which is fantastic. So I'm okay. But from a business growth perspective, it was a bit stagnant because I didn't have as much money to sort of reinvest in my business. And I found that it was challenging to exactly work out what to do moving forward. So I did feel out of balance when I was spending a lot of time rebranding and rejigging things. I wasn't doing what I do usually. So I think it's to be expected. With regards to what I want to take with me from this year and bring to 2021, we're obviously in 2021 now, a few things. I think this is cool. Vegan keto intermittent fasting, right? So I say vegan plus a bit of fish and eggs because I think those omega-3s and I love fish and eggs. So I'm pretty much a vegan, but I like fish and eggs as well. I say keto. It's not exactly keto. It's basically low carb, high fat, but I dip in and out of ketosis. And then intermittent fasting where I'm eating out of a window of roughly about 8 hours. Now, this doesn't happen all the time, but on work days, I do my very best to stick to that. And it does wonders for my energy so that I can keep going and keep going. Like I'm filming this in the afternoon. Usually, I say usually, if I go back many years ago, I would really struggle to have that amount of energy. And I think that being able to do some of this has just really allowed me to keep my energy at all-time high levels, which is cool. Next is working smart and not hard with my virtual assistant. What I mean by that is putting the right structure in place so that other people can do the tasks that are repetitive that I don't want to do. And that's working out really well. I want to run my business just online. I really want to take that this year. I don't want to have to be reliant, and I'm not reliant anymore, but I would never want to have to go back to always flying to different places in order to get clients. Instead, I want it to be a way to supplement the income that I have, which is pretty cool. Some other things that I want to take are board games. I've played so many fun board games this year, such as Catan, like Scrabble, Battleships, all these board games, which is I find really fun because I feel like I'm looking at screens all day. I'm not sure if you can relate to that. So I think doing some board games is actually a really nice release, thinking strategically and just having a bit of fun. So I'm definitely taking that. I did some painting. I think I've painted one thing in my life, but I actually did a paint by numbers, which I really enjoyed, and I finished it off literally a couple of weeks ago. And that was fantastic, just to unwind, relax, and do something very different to what I'm used to. Next, having relaxing showers, relaxing baths, like just chilling out, relaxing, 100%. Also, using music to keep my state very high during the day. I think that's really important, and I hope that you can use music as well to really boost you moving forward. Next is being proactive and responsible with regards to everything that we're doing. So sometimes even I can get a little bit lazy with admin things. Like I don't really like admin that much, but I'm choosing this year to be very responsible and proactive with just some of the challenges and things that we have. So sorting out mortgages, sorting out different interest rates, being very responsible with our finances, stocks and shares, cryptos, like investing and that wealth building. I'm really getting on top of that, which has been really cool. My vision board, loved being able to do that. And the other one is my podcast. I've really enjoyed running my podcast at the end of 2020. I've connected with some really cool people. If you haven't listened to a few episodes, I really think you should. They're pretty fun, and I really enjoy diving into different people's minds and understanding how they think and what brought them to where they are. It's pretty cool. So that's definitely some things that I want to take with me. So what have I learned this year, right? So looking at Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, I had the following insights. I learned that core routines are the most important thing. Get your routines in order before you set goals, because if your routines will set you up for your goals, then you're heading in the right direction, as opposed to just putting a goal out there, but not having the routines to back it up. Really key. Next, marketing is so important. I spent last year really finalizing and tweaking and doing all sorts of elements around my marketing. And I think that marketing is so key in business. And for me, that's going to be a real focus moving forward to make sure that's sustainable. So I keep having people, booking in regularly with me so I can keep expanding my business and growing it to higher levels. Next is for myself. I'm not sure if you can relate to this, but I have a little bit of an addictive personality. Now, what I mean by that is when I do something, I like to do it properly. So what I've found is Evelyn has started working for a company, and they specialize in games. So she's been playing these games. Now I play them with her, but I'm quite competitive. So what ends up happening is I'm playing the game more than she is because I like doing quite well at it. So I realized that's probably got to stop. So I had to delete those off my phone. But it was something to bear in mind, just to be aware that I can be taken off balance ever so slightly by games that I want to do well in. Next is major and minors. It's really important for me each quarter to set a major and a few minors moving forward. So this allows me to have a very clear focus and some other elements that are important but not as important as the major to focus on. And that focus is really going to help me move forward as I keep rock and rolling month to month, quarter to quarter, so I can keep upgrading what I'm doing and up leveling how I am as an entrepreneur. Next is yoga. Yoga's been awesome. Keeping up the vegan keto, I said that again. And also focusing on getting into the real estate market, getting properties, and starting to do buy-to-lets as well is going to be a focus for me moving into 2021. So lessons that I learned that I don't want to repeat again. And this is always an interesting one. Don't waste money on ads until you're absolutely ready and have the cash flow to back it up, because you need to go for about 3 months in order to make it profitable. So that's key. Do not waste time on events that can't be automated, like I've realized that. I don't want to waste time on emails unless I can also automate them, so just being very aware of what I'm doing and how it's working out. And committing 100% to everything that I do and making sure there's no back bridge to fall on. And that was especially important with a rebrand. It was really challenging moving from fulfillment artist to entrepreneur lifestyle and that back and forth. But it's been great, like finally getting it done, like getting all these things created and really moving it forward. And I feel really congruent with how I show up in that. I wish I could have just committed straight away, but there's always going to be that bit of a challenge moving from one thing to another. So what would I have done different? So when I'm reflecting on this, I thought it's actually pretty tough because COVID-19, there was so much uncertainty that I think I did pretty well given the circumstances. The other things that I learned is when the stock market went down and my bonds went up, from a finance side of things, I'm going to make sure that when stock markets crash, that I move from bonds into lower things that are lower and at a discounted rate, so that I can rise with the tide as opposed to having to ride out the dips and the falls to really buy in those dips. So that's something key. Also trusting my instincts more with investing. I've done quite a lot of investing. It's worked out really, really well this year, and being able to be more proactive with that and really trusting my gut has been really important, because I missed out on a couple of huge ones. I did very well, but I missed out on a couple of big winners that would have been nice. Other things that I want to change and would have done different is mini holidays. I want to be able to take some more mini holidays, especially with the lockdowns that a lot of countries are in. I think it's important for me every 3 months to have a mini holiday at the end to celebrate and reset. So that's pretty much what I've actually done. I've booked all those in, and I've got like 4 or 5 days off at the end of March, at the end of, I think it's in June, whenever the other end of the quarters are, so that I can really move forward and reset and move forward, which is nice. And also having 3-day weekends to really reset, unwind, and move forward. So that's been really cool. Now, with regards to my values, so I redid my values, I do it every year. This year was a little bit different because I really started to shift what I was doing. So I'll just explain what they are. So I've got 1 is health and energy, 2 is love, 3 is gratitude, 4 is now being present. That's a little bit different. I haven't really had presence before, but I realized that I wanted to be even more present with everything that I do, as opposed to easily getting distracted or not being able to wait. And I think that that's going to be really, really powerful moving forward. 5 for me is discipline. I think discipline's up there. It's so important. 6 is responsible, so being responsible for what I'm doing, wealth, the home, the finances, like all of those different elements. Then I've got leadership, authenticity, generosity, and then fun and joy. And I really think that being able to live by those values moving forward this year is going to really allow me to step up into the leader that I want to be for my organization, for my team, like building that culture, so that I can really have a bigger impact on people from all walks of life. Last thing is my plan of action for 2021. So now we get to the real juicing, right? Well, what am I going to do? So 2021 for me is going to be a pretty cool year in that for me, it's going to be all about automations and seeing how much I can automate in my business without me being there. So I'm going to be pushing, working with my trainers, automating everything online, having all the payment systems, the processes in place. I'm really automating as much as I can so that I've built a really strong foundation to scale. So really right now for me, I want to be able to have a sustainable business model to scale to 7 figures and beyond. And I'm pretty excited to see how that's going to work. So it's going to be optimizing, playing around, making sure that I get the right things in the right places. But I'm really excited to see what 2021 has got in store. Now, other things that I've done, I'm sure you'll see this in some other videos, but I've started to do different workouts with Evelyn. That's been pretty fun. Focusing on my calisthenics and getting very strong both physically. And I think that's going to be a real focus for me moving forward. And then I've also got my financial goals and making sure that I hit them to really boost myself moving forward. And I hope at the end of this year I can really start making videos on the other side of things, from the investments of what I've done and how I've built that alongside my business, because I do think that's important for people to be more financially savvy and realizing how they can build, especially as entrepreneurs, 2 businesses at the same time. One, obviously my business of both coaching and certifying people and moving people forward, as well as stocks and shares, crypto, real estate, and things like that, and building that up at the same time. I think that's important. So I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know if you've got any questions. Share it with anyone that you think will benefit, and I look forward to chatting to you soon.